Are all the live streams on? Are you sure? The X ones too? Okay. All the streams. Well, it's nice to see you all. Thank you for being here. A lot of people wanted to be here tonight. We didn't have a lot of space. Even the majority of the employees are all watching from the office right now. So we could make room for everyone. Yeah. Are we ready? Or do we take another minute? What are we doing? What's the hands mean? Are you guys ready? You're probably ready. Now, are all the camera and technical people ready? Because, okay, good, cool. That's another thumb. All right, gosh, that means it's time to start. Scary. Anyway, well, thank you for being here. We're gonna probably start in a slightly unusual way because we're a slightly unusual company. A lot of people may or may not know that we actually, we have no investors. We're kind of a weird thing. We're kind of a community-supported research lab. We have a lot of people around the world who love using our stuff, and there's enough of them that we just have a lot of freedom to build a lot of really great things. And of course, we feel an obligation to build a lot of things. But before we say what we're building, it probably helps to talk a little bit about, maybe a little bit about David, a little bit about where I came from and where a lot of the employees came from, and we'll kind of give a little history, a little backstory. Because otherwise, if you know us for our cat pictures, you're about to be very surprised. But we make really good cat pictures. Cool. All right. I have two laptops. This is a bit cool. So yeah, we're Midjourney. I'm going to start off talking about me, which is weird. Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Florida by the beach. My parents worked in medicine. My dad had a dental office on a sailboat. So I grew up a lot around sailboats, a lot around the beach. There's me. It was sort of, I was spent a lot of time sort of in a somewhat solitary way, like walking out in the night like this. There's a moonrise, a sunrise. I'm just walking and thinking about the world, and I'm seeing giant sea turtles come up and laying eggs, and there's sort of beams of light from the lighthouse sweeping across the horizon. If you ever wonder why we have a sailboat logo, now you know. Yeah, this is sort of, most of my friends were on the internet, so this is around the time where I kind of wanted to tell people what I was experiencing. Like if I say I was on the beach, I saw giant sea turtles and red lightning, and no one was like, what is that? So I got cameras, I started taking photos, and yeah, I mean, then I started, then it's me and, it's something about like the sort of being out in the beauty of nature and trying to communicate this thing, and then getting into technology to communicate it. And then obviously I'm doing photos in Photoshop. I'm making space art. I'm really into space. And then because I'm into space and I'm into the universe and sort of how all this works, I'm trying to figure it out. I go into physics, it feels like the physics people kind of knew something. I was like, a lot of people seem to know things, a lot of people seem to not, but the physicists always seem to know something, and I want to be a little bit more like them. And along the way of studying physics, I also studied a lot of math, and at some point I'm like, I might as well get a math degree while I'm at it too, and I'm like, math is pretty cool. Somewhere along the way, there was a sort of weird realization that, in math, in physics, you kind of just want to be able to predict the world. And you do that with math, but the math is somewhat secondary to the predictions. You can say things like, there are pi e to the 6 seconds in a year, and I'm going to cancel out the pi's in the equation with that, which is not true, but it's like totally okay if you're a physicist. And then in math, the math people scream when you do that. Like it's like, they're not pi e to the 6 seconds in a year. Like, what are you doing? And then, a lot of times the phys will be like, oh, the math guys will figure this out later, clean it up, make it nice. And so, I felt good doing both. But the more I got into it, there's a sense that, like with physics, it was about making predictions, even if the numbers were kind of fudgy and things were not totally clean, and we don't really know what's real, but we can make predictions. And then on the math side, it was like, all that's the only thing we really know are the numbers and the sort of raw structures of like like axioms and the things that come out of them. And there was a sense as I was going out into the world that I had to choose between these two things. It was either a choice between like math and the sort of pursuit of absolute truth, or like physics and the sort of pursuit of absolute reality. And I was like, that seems like kind of a fucked up choice. Like I was like, this seems really hard, like no one told me about this. And so I kind of, I did go to graduate school for a little bit, but I think I realized very quickly that I wasn't going to be able to do either of these things. I wanted to back away and just try to focus on people. And so this is when I started to work on my first company, which was Leap Motion. Some of you, I'm sure, remember this company. Some of you don't, but we'll talk about it a little briefly. So I'm maybe 22 or 21. I'm starting this company called Leap Motion. This keyboard. No sound on this one, guys. Yeah. So Leap Motion was about this idea that the limit in technology isn't the size or the cost or the speed, but often just how we interact with it. It doesn't matter how powerful computers are or how smart we are, but what we do kind of comes from the ways that we interact, and that the interaction itself might be the biggest limitation in people and technology in the world. And so I wanted to build my first company was all around this sort of user interface problem. And so we built this thing called the Leap Motion controller, which was a little device, and it tracked your fingers. And it was pretty remarkable. We put it out there. It was probably 22, and we sold about $40 million in pre-orders in the first 48 hours, which at the time was a pretty shocking thing. We didn't tell anybody. We probably should have said it, but it was pretty shocking. Like that doesn't happen. I don't know if anybody knows. Like it still doesn't happen. I don't think anyone that's happened. It wasn't a Kickstarter. We had a website. And from that point on, things went a little wild in my whole life. Everybody had advice for me. Everybody wanted the things to be different ways. But I just kind of had this problem that I wanted to solve. And this thing I wanted to explore, which is sort of our connection to technology and how much greater we could be with the two together. Over time we made a lot of hardware. So here I'm working with cameras again, just like I was as I was a kid. There's a lot of weird physics. We're doing weird LEDs and optics, and it's kind of coming from what I know, but it's sort of focused on people. There was a lot of work making it smaller. There are these little cameras, made it even smaller over time. We had like hand tracking running on like 30 milliwatts off a DSP, and it was pretty cool. I think something maybe more people now know of is we went into virtual reality, because this all happened before Windows supported touchscreens. So this is a really long time ago, and we were really, they say the future's not evenly distributed, and I hope you'll see that a little bit right now. But we did a lot of VR, and VR was just really cool. We kind of defined the concept of hand tracking in VR. For better or worse, it's probably still better than any hand tracking you can get today. It was just really cool. And something that people didn't know, I think people knew it was cool. It's still probably one of the coolest technology demos. But something that people didn't know was actually how it worked. It's been almost 10 years, so I can talk a little bit about that now. All the patents are published, all the stuff is out. But so what was this? I'll go back. Yeah, so this system was actually in modern terms, for those of you who know AI, a 600 million parameter mixture of experts with a 5% sparsity. So it was, which is wild for 2015, absolutely out of its time. It was trained across a CPU cluster, not a GPU cluster, because we didn't do GPUs back then. It was all hand-rolled. TensorFlow didn't exist yet. Again, the future is not evenly distributed, but it did a lot of really cool stuff. So in fact, not only were we doing hardware and cameras and sensors and interfaces, we were doing a lot of really weird AI stuff. And I wish we didn't really talk about it a lot, because we were kind of honestly a little scared that someone might catch on to the whole neural network thing. But eventually it happened. We just made an AR headset too. We did open source AR headset. It was called North Star. Thousands of people around the world, other than Japan, made their own headsets. It was also really, really cool. So we're building all, and so let's see. Here's more crazy things. All the CPU. This is our infrastructure training the neural network models with the data pipelines moving across all the servers. This is still a pretty weird image in 2026. Like, I don't think any AI companies have weird flow graphs of their data pipelines like this still. This is still pretty weird. But anyway, coming out of all this, I learned a lot. And man, there's a lot of things I could talk about, but little things from, for example, like, when you start a startup out here, there's a certain way of doing things and the general desire and the pressure and the structure, which isn't to say it's bad for all people. I would say it's generally pretty good for all people, but it involves this sort of concept of like having a plan that has a 10% chance of working with 100x returns if it does. And I think as a kid, it's really cool unless you take a huge swing. You can do all this kind of, you have all this opportunity to do stuff. But for me, as I kind of went through this process over years and years, this is over 10 years, I realized it didn't quite feel right for me because, I didn't really want a company, I just wanted a home. I didn't really want to like make 100x returns. I wanted to solve problems that I cared about. That they're like big missions in the world, and I wanted to like compound things over time and just see what I could do. So after Leap Motion, when I went to start Midjourney, I wanted to do a lot of things differently. And the first thing I wanted to try to do was, well, maybe I can do this thing without investors, which was scary. I only had like 200K in my bank account at the time. I did not come out of Leap Motion particularly well. But I had a particular mentor, Bill Warner, who said, David, you could do that. And I was like, Bill had this thing where he was one of my mentors, and everything he ever told me ended up being true, and I usually didn't listen to him. And so this time I'm like, oh no, he's probably right. So I'm going to give it a shot. That was one thing that was different. Another thing that was different was, although I still really am passionate about people and technology and the way they work together, and I hope we see that a little bit in Midjourney today, there was another thing that kind of came out, which was that I realized even if I gave everybody VR headsets and AR glasses and crazy hand tracking, they weren't necessarily going to still think or be able to do a lot of the things I did, or the ways that I do things would still somehow be inaccessible, and something felt wrong there. It felt like it was almost as if like the very sort of like powers of imagination in themselves like needed to be stronger. There needed to be some infrastructure, to be something that we had that was more than what we had to be able to make things and imagine what we wanted or what we cared about or just what could be, and something that would encourage us to believe that we could do those things. So yeah, that was sort of the theme that I wanted to think about when I was starting Midjourney. So there's a lot of things we were playing with, and one of them that I was kind of fine is the year 2021. Is the year 2021, and one of the things that I was looking at was this new thing called diffusion models. Let's see, what is the next picture relevant for diffusion models? Oh yeah, no, next one, yeah. And so diffusion models were this sort of interesting thing. They were like a new kind of machine learning thing, but it wasn't like the normal input-output. It was more like this idea that you could kind of hallucinate things out of noise, and that the shapes or the sounds or the video, like the motions or just anything could just sort of like condense out of the noise like water vapor into shapes of clouds. And it was really beautiful. So like it pulled me in. And I started playing around with things. I'm just by myself in my apartment. One day I was playing around with some of these, with some code, and I asked it for an arcane lighthouse. And you saw the lighthouses. I grew up with lighthouses. And I got this picture. This was the original picture. And I looked at this and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. We've got like a floating lighthouse with a lightning beam, like light and like auroras and a little like maybe golden, like a little is a green sailboat. This was more than I asked for, and I was like, okay, actually for this brief moment, even if it was just a mistake, this thing was actually more imaginative than me. And my original goal was like, hey, I just want people to be more like me. They want people to do the things that I do. And I'm like, actually, wait. Like, this could be better than me, or maybe with me and this, like, we could be just even better. Like, I don't know what this is. This is like day one. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then, this would happen all the time. There was another one where I just asked it for a picture of like a father, and we got this like suit with like a child as a tie, and I didn't ask for that. That's not in the data. Now, if you really look into how these things work, it kind of makes sense that you could get a picture like that. But again, like very creative, very interesting, very unexpected. There was like just something. There was some juice here. Everything I made, whether I was trying to ask for things that I hadn't seen before, I was like, this is really cool. Even in like the sort of watching the noise, sort of, ooh, come on. There we go. Nope. Nope. Oh. okay, maybe we'll have it, but even just like watching the noise of the thing sort of bubble and churn and the images form, you could feel like the thing kind of, like some kind of breathing aliveness of the thing. And it just felt really sort of profound and interesting, and I was like, all right, there's some magic here, and I want to get it to more people. And it's sort of, and maybe it can do some of the things that I care about doing. And so the big problem from here was it's now the year 2021, and I calculate out, how many, this is before ChatGPT is launched. This is really early in the field. And just trying to figure out, okay, like it takes like X minutes to make Y models, and if you have this many people making this many images, like what do you need? And it turned out to be like, I need like 10,000 GPUs. And so I called, luckily, because I did this cool company called Leap Motion, I could call up friends at Google and be like, hey, it's David. Like, I'm doing a thing. I'm like, oh, David, he's doing a thing? Like, it's like a new thing. Oh, it's going to be like cool like the old thing. But like, in this time, instead of needing cameras, I just need like computers. Like, we got computers. I'm like, oh, but I need like a lot of computers, guys. Like, oh, I need like 10,000 computers on day one to launch. Which is like, at the time, this is before all the GPT stuff. That's like a crazy ask. And I'm like, don't worry, like, I'm good for it. Like, I'm going to find a way to pay for it. But like, you just need to like give me 10,000 servers. And there was sort of this moment, and they go, okay. And I mean, there's some questions like, how does David bootstrap an AI lab? Part of it does come from, when you're out here for a long time, there's a certain degree of trust you can get, and it's really wonderful that I could just ask for that. And I had no investors, and they gave me, it's pretty cool. And so, yeah. So with those 10,000 computers, we built a little product, and we launched it. And it was the very first time that people could use diffusion models, any kind of image model, at scale. You could run it on your computer before that, but there was like maybe like one or places where like 100 people were using it. But this is the point where we're like, okay, millions of people can use it. There's like no limit. If you put your credit card in, we will buy servers and we will make this work. And there was a certain, because we had no investors, there's a certain weirdness to this where it's like, somebody has to pay for the computers. And I've got like a couple $100,000 in my bank account, so like, I'm only gonna last so long. So we kind of had to build this thing as like a business from day one, which is cool because it means like hopefully we're providing value to somebody. That's why they're paying us money. But it was kind of a weird thing, and I didn't really care about money that much this time. But like the way I thought about it was like, well, something has to pay for the servers, and then in an ideal world. I would have some kind of business where like I could have enough money to do one Leap Motion worth of R&D on the side. Because like Leap Motion was this crazy thing I did for 10 years. Didn't cost that, it was like 10 million a year, roughly. That was what it cost to do all that. And I was like, well, that seems doable. Like it's a lot, but like I could probably swing it. And then if I just had that like protected thing with crazy R&D for just years and years and compounding, and I could just do crazy things. I knew I could do crazy things because I had done it before. And the only difference was before I had to, I had to also do the 100x, like do it through a certain type of dance, which again is neither good nor bad, but in this case, like didn't always let me sort of just build the things I wanted to build, or solve the problems I wanted to solve. And so yeah, we launched this thing, and it did good. So over the first 9 months or so, we got about 20 million people coming in. This is 2021, 2022-ish. So, I mean, the way I thought about it was, I was like, okay, ideally we get like 10 million on the side for R&D budgets. But, I could fuck this up. So I should probably have like a plan where it's better than that. And so I kind of designed the thing being like, maybe if we get lucky, we'll do like 100 million or something. That way, if I really fuck up, I'll still do 10. That's the really thing I only care about. But unfortunately, we didn't fuck it up. And it kind of kept going, and it kept going to the point where it was like 100 million in 9 months, and then 200 million in 12 months. And it kept going, even till today. And it was at the point where I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to do more than one Leap Motion's worth of R&D now. And in fact, I'm going to do the thing that nobody ever is allowed to do, which is more than one thing. And it is hard. It's hard. It's actually really hard to do that. So we started kicking up a bunch of teams. hiring a bunch of people, probably around 2023, 24, and this right after around this. And we've been working on a lot of projects, 8 projects, and 4 of them are hardware projects, and 4 of them are software projects. 2 of them are hardware projects that I hope you will be able to buy relatively soon and hold them in your hands. And the other 2 are something else. I would say they're more like these sort of giant, awesome machines. And I'm going to show you one of those today. Yeah, but what about today? Like, what are we? We're now like, we got from like 2011 to like 2026. Like, what do we even know about 2026? And like, what can we even say about the future anymore? Like, what do we even build anymore, right? And like, I think there's one thing we know more than anything, which is that just everything's going to change. So the big question, maybe the only question, is like, how do we want things to change? And like, what do we want to build? And eventually, like, what do we want to become? It's like an even bigger question. Yeah, so I think that's like the most important thing to all be asking ourselves at a time like this. And today is us giving you one answer to that question. Yeah, so I think we might be ready for the first video. There's more than one video. This is on the AV guys. So, what was that thing? So we are going to show off the first new whole body medical imaging modality in 50 years. We're calling it the full body ultrasonic CT, or just the full body ultrasound. We kind of dreamed of something as powerful as an MRI and as casual as a trip to the spa. And so that's what we're going to kind of show you today. Yeah, and I'm sure you're kind of wondering, how's that even work and why hasn't anyone done this before? And so I think in order to answer that, we're going to have to do another video, which is a bit of a technical deep dive. And that's the next guy. So we're going to start with something called the transducer. When you put energy into it, it vibrates like a speaker. And when it hears a sound, it makes energy like a microphone. These transducers thus act as both speakers and microphones. We have 8,960 transducers arranged in a grid. Each transducer is 200 microns wide, like a fine grain of sand. They vibrate over 50 nanometers, 10 times smaller than the wavelength of visible light. Imagine a choir of 8,000 singers and an audience of 8,000 people all listening carefully. The transducers are controllable at a rate of 100 million times per second. Together they fire in patterns that send out structured waves. The waves travel across the water at over 1,481 meters per second. We construct a ring of 40 of these systems, 70 centimeters in diameter. The ring contains 358,000 ultrasonic elements. The chips take turns sending out waves. As the waves have a chance to dissipate, we fire the next one. One by one, they fire at a rate of over 1,000 times per second. I'll give it a second. The waves travel across the tank in 480 microseconds, about 1/2000th of a second. Hundreds of thousands of transducers listen. Each sensor resolves motions smaller than the width of an atom, not micrometers or nanometers, but picometers. Working together, hundreds of sensors can even push into the subatomic femtometer range, finer than the scale of atoms. A scale where I don't even have anything you've heard of. I'm sorry, guys. The system captures data at a rate of a leisurely 17 gigabytes per second. Gigabytes of sonic reverberations flow around your body. And from the vibrations, we will form images. Each probe sees different angles of your body. We combine thousands of waves and thousands of sub-images. Over 40 gigabytes of data moves through the system to see just one slice of your body. We analyze these images. You can see them, the little shadows of the organs and everything, to make out organs, structures, and tissues. And here we'll show you a slice of 25 different biological structures. This is a real image. We do this again and again as you move through the ring. The lift will lower you at a gentle rate of 4 centimeters a second with a precision of 0.1 millimeters. Over a period of 60 seconds, our goal is to get several hundred slices of your body. Reconstructing across 21 servers with 2 petaflops of compute power, 806 terabytes of raw data. The slices form a 3D map with the ability to resolve internal tissue details as small as 0.5 millimeter. Less than a dozen of these machines operating together at full speed can do more full body scans than every MRI machine together on Earth. Our goal is to build a fleet of 50,000 of these scanners, capable together of doing 1 billion scans a month. Enough to bring full body imaging to everyone on Earth. This is a new kind of infrastructure. It's full body ultrasonic computational tomography. No such device has ever been built until now. And yeah, we're calling it the Midjourney scanner. Yeah, so they're kind of hard to make. But you can make them, actually. Like, we're in the year 2026, and we have access to, like, pretty spectacular technology. And like, you know, I know it'd be normal to just be like, you know, we're making a scanner, but actually the details are what make something like this. And you know, I think it's very easy to like talk about the world in terms of like vague problems, but like the world is made up of actually like lots of really interesting details, and the details are what you can solve them with. Like all the little things like 1,400 meters a second, the speed of sound through water. Like, you know, I don't have to say that, but if it was the same as the speed of sound through air, it wouldn't work. The fact that sound goes through water is the reason why you can build something, like goes so fast through water is the reason why you can build something like this. And there's many other details like that. And all the details are all just, you know, are all there. And there's more of them. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. Can we go back to the slides? All right. One of the projects. What are the others? Not going to find out today, I'm sorry. So yeah, I'll show you some quick images. So here, these are real slices. Lots of little things. We got radiologists helping us label them. It's kind of new looking, so it does look pretty different than anything you've seen before, but you can definitely see all the stuff. This is day one of a totally new medical imaging paradigm. We're not even using any AI yet. It's just really cool hardware and software and a lot of great people working to make something that we haven't built before. But obviously, these systems can be much more sophisticated over time. This is not really the product. This is actually just the first prototype. No one's built one before, and we just did. So what else we got? Yeah, here's another one. I thought the slice thing was cool. Here's one more slice thing. Isn't that cool? So cool. Has little feet and everything. So, you know, again, it's the first day of MRI. It's like first day of MRI. That's what it looked like. And the first day of full body USCT, ultrasonic computational tomography, it looks like this. And obviously, MRIs look better than this today. And the ultrasound will look really incredible over the next few years. Here's an example, even right now. So, you know, I'm going to say this is both a fair and an unfair example. So this is an example of like your thighs with a normal four-body MRI, and this is the same sort of thighs with the ultrasonic CT. And you can see already there are certain ways where you can see the different boundaries between the muscles and some of the fibers and the veins that are actually already better than an MRI. We're not better in every way yet, but at day one, which is like this is the day one to be better in a lot of really interesting ways, is already really exciting. It means that like at the bottom, things are already easy. Sometimes when you try something new, it's good just to push and see if what gives. And when, you know, in this case, we're pushing, and the universe is giving. Yeah, so here's a little segmentation, seeing the organs. The scan we showed earlier, this is an ultrasonic phantom, so it's like meant to mimic a body as closely as possible. And it's like made of gel and fake organs and everything, but you can see all the way through. You get all the bones and all the, it gets really great imagery, and it's only get better from here. So, oh, wrong slide. So of course, now you're wondering, you know, what does it look like to get this out into the world? We say we're going to make 50,000 scanners, but it's not going in here. It's not going at my office. Like that's something else has to give. So, you know, when I think about how I would personally like this to be in the future, is I don't want to feel like I'm going to a doctor's office. I want to feel like I'm going somewhere that's nice. And ideally, the place is so nice that even if it had no Midjourney scanner, I would still go. That's a bar for what does it mean to be nice, right? It shouldn't be nice just because there's a scanner. It should be nice. What does that look like? Well, you're going to have to get wet. So, you know, that's a thing. That's one of the trade-offs we've made here. But there are lots of nice situations to get wet. No, that sounds weird. Sorry. That was not part of the speech. But what if we made something really cool? And so that's the second thing that we're going to announce, which we're calling the Midjourney Spa. So the Midjourney Spa, the first, we've signed a lease, and we already have designs. It will be 25,000 square feet, well, I'll tell you where it is in a second. It's 25,000 square feet. It's 4 floors. There'll be hot tubs, saunas, cold plunges, weird, like more things that things that I don't know that are very European, but great. and a little gym even too, and 9 or 10 full scanners. It's gonna look, come on, it's gonna look really cool. It's gonna look better than any spa I've ever seen in San Francisco. Maybe in America, it's gonna be really nice. It's gonna be really, really nice. It's gonna be so nice, again, you would go even if there were no scanners. It's going to be around Union Square, about a 4-minute walk from the Apple Store. Hopefully I'm allowed to say that, but that's a landmark, right? So pretty easy to get to. And we're going to try to make it as 24/7 as possible because it's mostly just machines that run without people, but maybe there'll be some downtime. Yeah, that's. I don't have another really long, well-produced video for this. I didn't have time. The first 2 videos I made, you're not supposed to know this, but this was made by our architects who made the Blue Lagoon, so real big spas before, and they're all really excited and they're really good. I think some of them are probably here. It's a serious project where all the things are going. And I guess I didn't say, we hope it will be open by the end of 2027. That's our goal. And so, maybe a little more about our goals. I do like a good hot tub, but one of the purposes of this project is to gain experience in running a lot of these machines and running a lot of people through these machines. And we're also trying to understand, if we're going to have some kind of product, which is a place that you go to get scanned, what does that product ideally look like? Is it a large spa with 10 scanners and a hot tub and a cold plunge and all sorts of, a mochi bar maybe, or is it turn out that people actually just want a gym and they just want to get a scan and get out? We don't really have any way of knowing. So what we're doing is we're kind of building a maximally super spa. Super spa, that sounds cool. And we're going to see what people use and what they like. And then the goal is I think this thing will probably make some money, and then we'll have a template of this is what people use, this is the sort of return on investment time, and then through some combination of our money and probably some other people's money, we're going to just build a bunch of these places around the world. Again, the goal is 50,000 scanners. This is 10, so that means if this is what the spa looks like, we need 5,000 of these, which is doable. Maybe some of them will be bigger, 50 scanners. Some of them will be smaller, 2. We're going to learn about those models and try to figure that out. Midjourney itself is large enough to self-fund all of this. We don't have to ask anyone for money to build a spa. But at some point, if we want to build 5,000, this is a big project. It's $20 billion in upfront capital expenditure. But if this thing, these things might just pay themselves off in 6 months. In which case, hey, we can build a lot of these. Even if it takes more than 6 months. 6 months would be absurd. It looks like it'll be 6 months, but I don't know. A lot of things look good, but so far a lot of things have been good. So all I know is I'm excited for this place. Yeah, what else we got? I think, oh yeah, that's, let's see, what else? So what does this look like? So you're going to the spa. You might go to be doing the gym, and you get these scans, and you just have this just very regular health data about your body. This sort of sub-millimeter scans of everything, every day. This thing is, it's not, there's no radiation, there's no X-rays, there's no crazy magnets. You could get a scan 100 times a day. It'd be kind of weird to do that. But there's no limit. It's as often as you want to go. And so the idea of there's a whole spectrum here of things you can do. You could get a scan just once a year. You're supposed to get an MRI scan once a year if you have a lot of money. I thought I would finally do it, but it sucks. You're going into a tube for 60 minutes with gunshot sounds going on. It's not, I could afford to get more, but it just sucks. My body doesn't even want to go. And so but even just a once a year MRI is a huge thing to have in your life, let alone if you're feeling an upset stomach. These are not all things you're going to be doing day one, but if you're feeling an upset stomach, you can literally see the food digesting through your body. It's kind of crazy. You can just anything that's changing over any time period, you can kind of get an awareness of from a scientific standpoint. So whether that's, it's another question that we don't know, is if people can just go as much as they want to go. Are they getting a scan once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year? What's that distribution look like? All of these things are really important to understand if we want to build a huge piece of infrastructure around this technology. Yeah, obviously from day one, we will probably be a little conservative. We have this thing called the FDA, and we'll be doing some things are really easy, like body composition, really easy. Some things like we can't do surgery with, like there's obviously other things that are like really crazy that we're not allowed to do. But one of the goals is to do all the things that are easy, get a lot of data, and as we get data, show out all these other things we've been doing, and then sort of layer on like approval after approval, functionality after functionality, until this thing can do thousands of types of diagnoses, or and eventually actually treatments. There's some weird things you can do with ultrasound, whether it's like tendon and muscle healing, and I don't want to go into that because it's not day one. But like over a 10-year period, these things are not just imaging devices, they're probably therapeutic devices as well. And there's a lot of really cool things you can do. This thing has way more ultrasound than it needs to just you kind of want to have as much ultrasound as possible to just see the stuff fast. But because of that, it has a lot of ultrasound they can use to do other things, as that becomes normal, I would say. There are a lot of things already that people use ultrasound to look at. I'm sure you all can probably think of a few. And there are actually things we use ultrasound to treat too. So to some extent, this system can do anything that any ultrasound system has ever been able to do, and more. It's sort of like super over they would say over-spec'd, but I think it's just right. This is the first generation scanner. One of the things we want to do is just be able to start talking about that today, and what we're working on, and so the team, can tell their families what they're doing. So we can hire more people on the team, and then we're going to be able to give people updates. So this is the first generation scanner. It's more of a prototype, if you will, more than it is like a push button every day, run it 1,000 times a day kind of industrial system. The next version we're building will be this Gen 2 system, hopefully by the end of the year. Hope to do another presentation for it, and it'll be, I'm trying not to spoil it, but significantly more advanced. This is the first one they got to make. And honestly, it was already a big jump. The temptation was, let's make a little one first, David. And I remember looking out a window, and I was like, no. Build the big one. And it felt so good to have to just have the freedom to just say to just do that. And yeah, but we went straight to building a big one from nothing. Literally not even a small one, just went straight to this. And so we learned a lot in the process, and the team can't wait to tear the whole thing to pieces and build a better one. But I wanted to be able to show people what we've built before we tear the whole thing apart and start that process. But the second generation one will be really cool too. And then beyond that, not to go too far into the future, but we've also commissioned the new chips even. So the third generation one will actually have custom silicon that's built to really, it's actually built for this application. None of the components here are built for this. It's a bit of a, this is like what's that movie called? This is like the MacGyver version of this. And it's already really cool. So when you start making custom chips and you start doing everything from scratch and you throw all the layers of all the AI, all the physics simulations and all the huge servers on top of it, this thing is going to be really cool. Yeah, and I guess oh, they're not on my thing anymore, but I was going to say, I guess we might be ready to take it to a Q&A.
This should catch that kind of thing. Are you announcing a price for it, or a scan, or
yeah?
When can we sign up?
The interesting thing about this is that, from a physics standpoint, these machines are more than 10 times cheaper than an MRI machine. And they're also more than 60 times faster than an MRI machine. So if the cost is the cost to produce divided by the time to amortize it, this thing should be hundreds of times, 1,000 times cheaper than an MRI. So it's so cheap that it probably almost doesn't make sense to talk about the cost of the scan, because the cost of the scan is effectively zero. So the question at that point is more of like, okay, we have to build a facility, and then we want to like, it can have only so many people going through so many times a day, and then we want the facility to pay itself off so that we can fund more facilities as quickly as possible. And so the thing that I can say is that the cost of the scan is probably effectively zero, but the business model that we build around this, which we want to really shape carefully so that it becomes a thing that you can kind of financialize like $20 billion behind to just scale out 5,000. Because once the thing has sort of been financially, I would say, refined, from a raw infrastructure standpoint, we could just build 5,000 of these places all at once, and everyone could have them really. But like, so we're kind of on a straight shot of like figuring out what the product is, what's the business model like. Probably, if I had to guess for you right now, is like there'll be like spa memberships. There'll be like a walk-in version where if you don't have a membership, you can just walk in. There's probably like a price you would pay if you only want to get a scan, you don't want to go to the hot tub. There's probably a price you'd pay if you only want the hot tubs and you don't want to get scans. There's some pricing matrix, but I hope it's like extremely reasonable. And I think our goal is to get as low as we can get while still being able to like, not go beyond the occupancy limits of the building. Which is a real thing. Like it's it's 24,000 square feet. It's a solid spa, but like we can't have like 10. Like there will be some pricing and some limit where we would just say we can't. This thing isn't working anymore. So we have to figure that out. But conceptually, like there almost is no price, which is kind of cool. I mean, to be fair, like an MRI machine, in some ways is also partially just the cost of the radiologist. So I mean, this is a real thing too. As AI gets better, how much can we trust them to just like take a first pass? I would say from a scientific standpoint, there's no reason why these things shouldn't be able to have a really good first pass. Like clearly, if something, it can't tell you if there's something subtle, but maybe if there's something subtle, I mean, there's some level where obviously it can't tell you. But we all know people who died suddenly where it was like something was really wrong and they just didn't go to somebody until really late in the process. So I think the hope is to try to fix that. But I don't know. I'm kind of long answer, but
yeah, we got some more questions.
Let's do some more questions. Alex is in. Wait, where's Alex? Alex. She's in charge of the mic. Wave at her.
Thanks, Alex. I'm actually a simple country doctor, and I love this idea of being able to do it in a spa setting. You've talked about affordability. You've talked about the accuracy that you're looking to achieve. What is it looking like in terms of accessibility for physicians at enterprise scale? Where are you with regards to the FDA approvals? In this setting, I don't even think you need FDA approvals at all. But at what point are you going to start thinking about it? Where are you in terms of CPT codes to actually be able to bill insurance so that I can use this for my patients?
So I hope long term that insurance just covers these things, because I think that if we could do preventative medicine better, like maybe 50% of healthcare costs could just go away because we're catching things early instead of late. And so to me, I don't have an insurance company, but like it seems like a no-brainer. We have started. So forgive me. There are like with the FDA, there's like certain incantations and keywords which I may not say the correct order of, which is scary. But we have started discussions with the FDA. The body comp stuff is already on a really good path. I think in general, we probably will never be able to go as fast as we'd like to go because it is medicine. But I think, when you talk about what's a place to make an investment right now in AI, where no matter what, like 10 years, it's still going to be really important. To me, as AI gets better and better, and we're using them for more and more medicine, like the limit is going to be this, like, can I go get some data real fast? And so to me, it just feels like a really important pillar of the health system. I will try not to say the really careful, magical FDA keywords, but there is a guy here in a skeleton who's Tom, will be head of health, or any fancy title he really needs. And he knows all the magical incantations, so I'm going to not make myself look stupid and definitely seek him out. But we are doing a bunch of things. We have a lot of people we have a lot of FDA people involved already, to the extent that we can. And then obviously being public is also a really cool part of the process. So now we can actually talk about what we're doing. To be honest, like normally in a startup, you spend all this time pitching and presenting yourself. And we haven't done that. This is literally, like, we didn't have slides, we didn't have any pictures, we're just making stuff. And so like, last 2 weeks was just like me getting a camera and filming somebody getting dunked, and then me spending a lot of time with like WebGL making a cool visualization, because we literally didn't have anything to even show people what we were working on. And so this is just a big part of us, just to have all the material. Everyone knows it's out in the open. We can talk about things now. I want to be able to do things like just take more images and show people images all the time. In theory, we can image people and just start showing cool images. Like here's this issue, and we can see them in these ways. And we want to engage lots of doctors and really engage everybody we can, because like it's very likely there's a lot of applications we don't even really know about. Like I was talking to one really great guy in medicine, and the first thing he said was like, hey, if I have to put a kid in an MRI machine, I have to sedate them. Like you can't MRI a kid. Like it's really hard. And that's like, well, this seems really easy. And like there's a lot of things I wouldn't have thought of that. And so we want to be able to start engaging. It's one reason why I invited a lot of you here. So we want to hear your thoughts, and we want to get you all involved as much as possible. And I'm gonna And then let's see, more questions.
David, you forgot to mention we're hiring.
We are hiring. And we're also working with
How do people learn more about where the jobs are?
Oh, there is a midjourney.com/medical. I don't know if it's online, but it will be online, and it will have a jobs page. It's up? Oh, it's up.
Hi, David. This vision is so complete. You're planning 3 generations out. I'm just very curious at your process. Did you start from, like, you met the butterfly guys, and then you were like, what can we do with this? Or did you go, we have to solve scanning, and then you work backwards to whatever you got to?
So I'm kind of like, I don't know if this is weird or not. I'm going to say I feel like a weird guy, where I just like think about things that bother me for a really long time. So this has been bothering me for 10 years. And I didn't know the right way to solve it at first. I was like, maybe I should make an MRI machine, like a new one. And maybe I should buy an MRI company. And I was learning about all the things. And to be honest, like, there's only so many ways to do it. You've got light, you've got sound, you've got magnets. There's only X-rays are a form of light. I think very quickly I realized MRIs can probably not be both fast and good. It's sort of one or the other. And then, because you can't push enough energy through it easily. But with ultrasound, you can push more energy through. And so it's kind of as I thought about it over years, it's like, this is the only way to do it. And it kind of stopped me for a bit because it's a bit expensive to get going. But as Midjourney is big enough, we could do this. And there were times where I pitched tech companies. I was like, hey, I can't do this. But like you, big tech company, you should do this. And they would be like, sir, we make smartphones. And you know what I get to say now is, sir, I make cat pictures. And there isn't really, an excuse. You can just make things.
David, we have a lot of questions from the Hive Mind.
Oh, we have. Oh, and then.
So we're live streaming right now,
and maybe
Caleb is manning the computer. If you want to take some Hive Mind questions.
Yes, but before that, there's people over there making sounds. I'll probably ask everyone to be a little quiet over to the side. But then people probably we have demos. You can't get your butt scanned today, but you can get your hand scanned today. And so there's a lot of little cool demos over there. And so some people are moseying around already. And when we get done with the QAs, we'll let everyone check things out. But yeah, that's why there's people over there. Okay, so we have this thing called the Hive Mind, where we let the community ask us questions. And I have no idea how many questions there are. But what's a question from the Hive Mind?
All right, there's a lot of interest in getting scanned. And somebody says, will access to scanning be available before 2027? Is there any interest in scanning people with rare or unique diseases for training purposes?
So I don't know the exact FDA keywords to say on this, but broadly speaking, we'll be doing research trials where we are scanning people for a variety of things to try to understand the nature of the device. And so we are scanning people already. We do want to scan a lot more people. I think in general, we should. If you sign up for the sort of email list, we'll send out an email blast for like things we're allowed to ask you for. But in general, like, we're going to scan a lot of people before the spot opens, but it won't be like a push button every day, like do it without anyone asking. Like the goal is you should be able to go get a scan, no one's even there. It's all automated. But like day one, like it's not going to be like that for the next year. We're really sort of learning to use this device. So you'd be there like with the scientists, watching you behind some, nice glass or something, some hazed. It's just privacy.
Question up here.
Oh, hi.
Hey, that was awesome, thank you. I guess two-parter Part 1, public hot tubs can get gross. Will you scan the hot tubs? Part 2, will this ever upload us to the Matrix? Pause.
So it's sub-millimeter now, and sub-millimeter is like roughly the wavelength of the ultrasound. And then beyond that, you have to look at the sort of diffractive effects, which like if the grain, like if you can't see like really things way smaller than the wave, but if there's these sort of granularity in the tissue and it's pointing in different ways, you can like back out a microstructure, which is smaller than the wave. It's hard to do, but like the information, there is sub-wavelength diffractive information, but it probably doesn't go down to like the cellular level needed to do like a mind upload in this case. So we are not offering that product at this time. What's that?
The hot tubs?
You know, we have thought about a version of this product that's more built into the hot tub directly, but you know, the way that we've gone about this is this particular design where you kind of go up and go down, it's optimized for throughput. Because if you have to like lay in a tub and then get out of the tub, I'm like adding a whole other process. You know, you're fit, you can do that. But other people, you know, just go down and up, and, you know, on an elevator, it's done. You know, you don't have to worry about anything. So the idea up and down, out, up and down, out. It's like very throughput optimized. So, you know, for now, that's the main focus. I gotta let Brian talk. Yeah, okay.
Great.
Oh.
We got a question from the hive mind.
Oh no, well, okay, real quick. Oh no, I'm letting Brian go.
Okay.
In your chip and transducer architecture, are you allowing for focused abilities?
Yeah.
To the ablation and other modulation effects in the body?
So right now, these chips are sending out what we call, so you're saying, can we focus the ultrasound? Or basically asking, can we focus the ultrasound down instead of, and so right now we send out what we call like a planar wave, which is very safe. There's no problems with that. Obviously, with ultrasound, you can sort of focus things, and you can do a lot of, like people are doing, what would be the word? The word for it would be like incisionless surgery right now. So there's some, I think people in Israel are doing like brain surgery without opening up the skull, where they beam the ultrasound in, and they can actually like destroy cancer at a distance. And this machine, this technology is broadly capable of doing that, but those are certainly things where it's like it's a much higher FDA level, and you know, like destroying. I would say the highest bar is I would say the highest bar for safety would be destroying cancer tissue just straight out. Like technically, these systems have that ability, but we would never touch that for a very long time. I think there are things that are like a lower risk. So you can like make tendons and muscles heal faster, and there's like a lot of other things that are like, I would say, just much less ultrasound where there isn't really a lot of risk. You might, we were going to kind of go up that ascending ladder and then see where we stop. I don't know if we'll ever try to do the destroying cancer from a distance kind of thing. There are a lot of ways of doing that. Sometimes they inject things into you, and then that lets you target the ultrasound. That makes it much safer. We're not really thinking about that right now, to be honest. But I would say we are thinking about this like long-term ability of the system to do both imaging and therapeutics as well. And I think we would like it to be able to do both. But then, you know, it's not totally up to us. It's going to be like, there's a very regulated process. And to be honest, I think the imaging is the lowest hanging fruit because, you know, yeah, it's the lowest hanging fruit, yeah. I don't have to tell Brian.
Question from the hive mind here. There's a question asking, who analyzes the data? Do you take it to a doctor, or is it something that the scanner will analyze for you?
So this is going to be sort of pending as the FDA stuff changes. I think day one, we're trying to do this sort of body composition stuff, where we're going to talk about all the different, like the different types of tissues and how that's changing to a certain level of granularity. I don't know. There's a step past that where we're allowed to share it with your doctors, and they're allowed to look at it for things. I don't know when that gate passes, but these are all sort of things that sort of naturally progress in a sequence of events. And to be honest, in an ideal world, like, you know, over the next 5 years, we don't totally know what medicine is going to look like and what regulation is going to look like. And so in an ideal world, you know, it's possible this should be like a new class of FDA device where it's not really meant to look at one thing, but it's meant to look at like anything weird. Because in theory, we could say, hey, your toe is weird. You should get that checked. Like, we could definitely say that. We're not allowed to just do that off the bat, but like maybe we should be able to do that. And so there'll be all these FDA questions that are regulatory questions that are really interesting. And I think in an ideal world, this is not like a normal device. This is a device that there's going to be more things like this in the future, where we're just trying to get as much data as we can about your body, and we just want to be able to flag doctors if something looks weird. And so that's not super casual. That's not a casual thing to do right now, because there's a lot of things that could be bad about doing that. But I think this is something that as AI gets better every day, that I hope we can get really comfortable with. So some of these things I won't be able to put timelines behind, but making 50,000 scanners is something that's going to take many years anyway. So my hope is as we're sort of building these scanners and figuring out these spas, we sort of intercept the rest of the rise of AI and the rest of the change in the regulation. Everything hits in a really beautiful place, and then we got everything we need. And luckily, we can take the risk.
Great, I got a question over here, David.
Where, Alex, where are you? Oh, hi.
Hi. I just wanted to let everyone know some drinks are going to get passed around as well, and there's a bar in the back corner if you're thirsty. Appreciate it.
And there's a jazz club downstairs.
We're going to take
This is a
Q&A.
place called the Vita Brevis Club. It is a super cool space, and I'm very grateful for them hosting us. And it's one of these sort of unique and beautiful spaces most people don't know about in the city. So, hopefully you guys get to learn more about it.
Great. We got a question over here.
Hey, Dave. Great to see you're still building hardware. First time we met, you came down to Cupertino, and you had the Leap Motion on breadboards and MATLAB. I still remember it today, so.
Don't tell anyone that the first Leap Motion demos were in MATLAB.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, they all know now.
But
it ran at 60 frames a second in MATLAB, I will have you know.
Yeah, that was tough. But quick, two questions. So the MRI, I think, is based on like the resonance of like the H2 bond, and the ultrasound has different physics. Do you have a sense about, like, they see something different, right? So I'm sure you look at what kind of tissues properties are. And then the second one, just like anecdotally, how hard was it to do the alignment between the, because you're moving a little bit, right? So
yeah. Well, so the main thing that I would say is it's looking at the speed of sound. So when the wave moves through a change in the speed of sound, it diffracts, and then it sort of, And so basically, the way you sort of look at how all the waves move and distort around the body, and that's basically all due to mostly due to density changes in the medium. And so you could say that one of the first things you get is sort of a speed of sound map, which is sort of a density map. But it's also, there's like the jiggliness, I forget what the word is, of the thing also has some effect, like the resonance of the tissue, and then the microstructure of the tissue will also diffract sort of sub-wavelength things too. So the most important thing is the speed of sound, but then beneath the speed of sound there are many factors that cause smaller and smaller things. And so today we're doing a very simple like speed of sound kind of thing, but over time with some combination of physics simulations and neural nets, we'll hope to back out more and more of those extra components and get things that are much more detailed still. And the second one was registration. Yeah.
Moving a little bit, right?
Yeah. Oh, in an MRI, you're moving too, of course. So we have a bunch of depth sensors inside the tube that map your body. And to be honest, our alignment is not the best. We don't have enough engineers to have every feature we should, but we feel pretty good about that. We have all the cameras. You're going through, you can see the body really well. You just have to align it rigidly, and so it should be good.
Great. We got some questions from the hive mind. Caleb over here in the corner.
David, does your head go under the water? Do you wear a breathing apparatus or just hold your breath?
So I did not. So I'm really excited to go underwater. You don't have to go underwater, but if you want to see the inside of your eyeballs and stuff, you want to go underwater. So I think I would like there to be an option for a scan where you go all the way underneath. And then what you'd probably do is as you're going down, it goes breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and hold. And then you go under for 5 seconds, and then you come back up, and that should be fine. So we're not doing a lot. We've done some eyeball, skull imaging stuff. We're not going to be as good as an MRI for internal brain structures, but we should be able to make out something. There are other reasons to do the skull. But right now, I think the team is not doing it as much as I would like to. But it's fine. We have a lot of work to do. I want to go underwater, man.
David, we have so many questions.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, how do we even do this? We could do a lightning round.
I'm wondering if maybe we move to a speed round.
Yeah, speed round.
Okay, here we go.
Quick questions.
David, thank you so much. I'm working on brain tissue restoration, so I was curious, A, how long is your dream timeline to the therapeutic angle? And B, where does my data go when I get scanned? Is it local or?
Well, probably, so the way it'll probably work is there'll probably be like a neural compression algorithm that compresses it down, and then we'll probably send it to our giant server clusters, which are normally making CAD images, and then we'll just sort of process all the slices in parallel and then send them all back down. And we'll do it in a really like secure and private way. Like our stuff does, our model weights don't leak. We can do things really securely. I would like to be able to leverage our computers because everybody has a lot of spare computers when you have a lot of computers running. So we have thousands and thousands of computers. They're just not doing anything sometimes. And I would love to just be able to use those to process this data rather than doing it on site entirely. But there will be some compute on site. And this particular scanner has like 21 machines on site just to actually handle the data streaming. So we're going to do something weird. We'll partner with NVIDIA. We'll make some weird box, and it'll do a better job at streaming. But then I think the goal is to focus the local compute on the compression, and then focus the cloud compute on the sort of crunchy version of this. And then for therapeutics, I have no way to know what that timeline is. But what I would say is that we are going to prioritize imaging first. It's just easier. And my parents are in medicine, but I think our whole family is like a little easily grossed out. We have like blood is gross, and just like the therapeutics is just scary to me a little bit. So like I feel like it's important to think about, but I'm not like rushing into it from a spiritual angle. But like I think we should do it.
In spirit of the lightning round.
Yes.
Henry has a question.
I'll do a quick one. Hi, David.
Hi.
So you're doing CAD images now, and the scanners, and the spot, and 7 other things. I wanted to ask, what do you think of the future identity and shape of Midjourney as an organization? How do you want these things to fit together?
Yeah, so we're going to be a little confusing for the next 6 months as we announce all the things, but I'm hoping as they all are out there, they sort of form a picture which I hope feels pretty cohesive. I would say for most of them are around creativity. But some of them like this are just around like positive human futures that we actually want to be a part of. And I think this is like an important thing for AI companies to do. And like important thing for all humans to do. It's like we have like a shared responsibility to paint things like that. And we do have a lot of shared overlap, whether it's like, we make a lot of image models, we have a lot of sensor experience, like we have a lot of the skills. One of the reasons why we're doing this is we're kind of uniquely skilled to do this. Yeah.
Great,
so,
I got a question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, okay.
Right in front.
David, what diseases or medical conditions are personally most important to you?
It's hard for me to play favorites with disease. But to be honest, I kind of just want to see how my body is changing as I like change my diet and like physical workout. Like I want to like I would like my daily life choices to be like measurable down to like the fraction of a percentage point. So that way I'm actually more encouraged to do those healthy things. I think right now I actually don't get the encouragement. I'll be like, yeah, like I watch Brian's channel and I'm like, man, I wish I was doing that more. But it's like, I'm not the most measured man on earth yet. Maybe, like I want to just have that daily feedback, to be honest. That's the biggest thing to me. And something we'll be able to do really the quickest.
Great, I got another question here right in front of you, David.
Hi, David. Thanks so much for this. Quick question about assuming this is safe for pregnancy, and is this something that, because I could see women with pregnancy wanting to really see their babies during the pregnancy. Is that something that you guys have thought about or explored?
We are thinking about it. I don't know the regulatory aspects of it, but the system is way over spec. Like the thing that you normally image the baby with, this is like 40 of those things. So it's like in theory, really good. It's definitely not the first, thing we're looking at, but it is like in theory, what we should do from an imaging standpoint is we should look at the list of everything that's easy for ultrasound to do and just say, let's just check every one of those boxes. Like they already use it for babies, we'll do it for babies. And that's the stuff that the FDA finds the easiest. They're like, well, yeah, like this ultrasound is safe, this ultrasound is safe. So I hope to go down that list as quickly as possible to the extent we can. Yeah.
All right, David, you're gonna have to speak up over the demo area a little bit.
Okay, can I even do that? Are they gonna make me louder?
Shh.
Thank you.
All right.
So if successful, how does 100 years from now look like? Are we close to cloning?
right?
100 years is going to be unrecognizable. It's sort of, 100 years from now, the planet Mercury is not going to be there anymore. It'll all be like a giant processor cloud or something. 100 years is a while out. But, I mostly think in 10 years, this is going to be really awesome. And, I think to be honest, a lot of us, if you were born in the 90s at least, they used to say the word, which was they used to have this concept of the 21st century. We would all talk about what the 21st century is going to be like. And now when was the last time you've heard the word 22nd century? No one says it anymore. It's like the future doesn't exist. So I would honestly like to get us to think more about that future, but I feel like my first duty is to get us to think just about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, in a really positive, excited way, before we start talking about whether our kids are going to have cat ears or something,
Great.
Meow.
Got a question over here.
Yeah, so before I used to do also emergency medicine.
Sorry, speak up.
Sorry, yeah. So before I used to do emergency medicine, and one of the cool things about ultrasound is that it's not just a static image, but you actually see movement. You can see Doppler things and everything. And so are you thinking, instead of using just static imaging, to having also 4D available?
Yeah, go ahead. So in theory, this is capable of not just looking at the blood vessels, but we can actually see the blood flowing through it too. Honestly, we don't have enough people to do all those things simultaneously, but the system is capable of some crazy stuff, and I'm happy you mentioned it, because we can do Doppler in theory with these systems too, yeah.
And a final question is also that, because sound is not primal, it's not like photonic, it's not like visual. So are you thinking about using this data for something where you don't even need the image as an intermediate modality to using this data for?
Well, there'll definitely be these sort of 4D images. There'll be these other things too, which is density and fine structure, and there'll be these more multidimensional stuff. We're going to have to fight for it a little bit because it's a lot of work, and we need to hire a lot more people to do it. But it's all stuff we can do in parallel, and I'm hoping we can find the people, whether they're here today or they're on the internet, to help us do this. Because we can hire. We would love to have a bigger team, and we have the data, and we can be doing a lot more than we're doing today. But we just have to tell people what we're doing.
Great. Sun has a question in the middle here.
Hi, David. Have you scanned anything other than humans? Do you have cat scans?
We have not scanned a cat. No, we've only scanned people and phantoms.
Great. I got another question right here.
Hey, David. I'm just curious about the form factor of the machine itself. You've got a standard cylinder, but have you considered this becoming almost a camera set where there's cameras and everything? Could there be these on the sides of every single pool or every single hot tub, et cetera? Does the hardware extrapolate out to other form factors?
I think if you're not optimizing for throughput, you could make a bathtub, which would be really nice. There are several form factors that would be quite cool. I think we will eventually probably do another form factor. So this one's, I would say, throughput optimized, but it's not size optimized. It's kind of tall. And so there is a version of this which is just tinier. And so if we were specifically targeting gyms, we would need it to be smaller. We don't know yet if this plus gyms is the thing, but those are examples of a different trade-off we might make. And so for now, I think we're on this straight shot of Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, throughput optimization, maximum performance. But at any time, if we have a big enough team, we could just make multiple form factors. But right now the team is man, David, you made a big thing already. We have a crane. You got a crane to bring the thing in. It's it's like a rocket almost.
We got a hive mind question.
Okay.
Two questions, lightning round questions. One, how many people have gotten scanned so far, and how long does it take?
How many people have got 5?
About a dozen now.
A dozen? Okay, a dozen. Dozen people. It depends on how much we scan. So to be honest, we're not, very often we're just testing one thing. So we'll we'll do the legs, we'll do the body, and then it depends on how much we're in a rush. I would say on average, if you go and get scanned, we're gonna put you in the water for 20 minutes because we wanna get as much data as we can. And right now, the maximum speed of the thing is limited by the raw data bandwidth and then how many waves we send at the same time. Right now, we're not sending that many waves at the same time, which we should do. And we're running off 40 USB 3.1 optical cables, which is not Hello. Yeah, we're going to move to PC, like Ethernet and then PCI. There's a lot of limitations on the system that are slowing us down, to be honest. Some combination of algorithms and bandwidth. And I think sometimes the DSP things too. There's like a lot of, but yeah, if you go, we're going to scan you for 20 minutes minimum. Hello. Hello. Okay. Yeah, but there'll be, when you finally get to the spot, there'll be a variety of scans. If you want to scan one thing really detailed, or the whole thing fast, the whole thing slow. So we're going to build like a suite of scans.
We're hitting time, David. I got one last question here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
When this moves past the precision of millimeter scale, do you see this substituting the role of a blood test?
You know, I think I mean, there's obviously some things we're not going to be able to see, but I think there might be a lot more that we can see than we think. And I mean, this potentially gets into like, if you get a body scan every single day, you know, like, and you can see these sub-millimeter things, like, you know, do you need to even look at blood to tell if something is wrong in certain situations? Like, I think that so, you know, this is, I think, maybe beyond the level of science right now, but in my opinion, you know, sub-millimeter at regular intervals is enough to see a lot of stuff, like way more than we thought, especially when you're looking at the tiny differentials and throwing all the AI at it. But I think it's a little bit, this is what I'm probably most excited about, is to sort of look at the sort of micro differential science aspect of this. And I'm very optimistic, but I'm not going to try to make myself look too stupid. I think it's a frontier of science. Yeah.
David, do you have any closing remarks?
We have a lot of demo stations, and they're all manned by people on the team. We have a relatively small, what's the team size? 9? We have 9 people working on the device right now. I think they're all here. Yeah. It's a good group. It's a good group. You don't need 1,000 people to do something cool. So they're all here. I don't know if they'll all answer any questions, but this guy in the skeleton thing, he knows a lot of stuff, and you know, probably more than me. So you can keep asking questions after this. I don't mind. Yeah, and you know, what did I say? Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for those of you being with me who aren't in this room as well. And obviously, like, thank you for all the people who use our stuff every day that help us fund this. No investors, just regular people. So this is pretty cool. Yeah. Is there anything I should tell people about the upstairs versus downstairs, Alex? Alex?
Yes, we're going to have some time up here. There's some food that's going to come out.